And welcome back to Psycho Turtle, back here for the quarterfinals of our first Regulation E Gym Challenge. Dennis Geisler, Arnie Wolf here with you, and we have, as I mentioned, we are into quarterfinals, we are into Top Cut, we are seeing a team we saw earlier and a team we did not see earlier, and also we get the very fun fact that we are getting all 4 Ogerpon forms on a team in the span of 2 games on stream.
That. I absolutely love that, and I think each one has merit. I really do. As you said, we saw Sean's team. By the way, it is Richard Salazar versus Sean Pinto, as you can see on the screen here. We saw Sean's team, and Sean's going to be on the left here. We saw that Ogerpon earlier, but we're going to see the Hearthflame form on Richard's team, and here we go. Let's get right into it. Rillaboom, Ogerpon, Wellspring form, Arcanine, Hisui, Como-O, Fluttermane, and Torrentor on Sean's side, and on Richard's side, Fluttermane, Chin and Pao, Tornadus, Tornadus Incarnate, Dragonite, Ogerpon, Hearthflame form, and Rillaboom.
Yeah, and some of the interesting... Sean's team is very interesting. We saw some cool stuff earlier. The Como-O, that is Iron Defense Body Press setup. The Tyranitar that has the Terra Psychic along with Terra Blast. And of course that Ogerpon Wellspring form that I like, but I don't know how much we're going to be seeing it in this matchup here.
There's enough.
Doesn't match up super well against Richard's team.
Not really. Especially, I mean, there's at least 4 things that have super effective against it, I believe, or at least can do enough damage to knock it out, like the Ogerpon Hearthflame. I think, looking at this, the first thing I'm noticing is that this team, besides, I think besides Ogerpon Wellspring, even with Ogerpon Wellspring, this Ogerpon Hearthflame is going to do a lot of damage. Tyranitar is like one of the only things that can knock it out, and so can Como-O to an extent. But even then, it's going to be dangerous. It's going to be a late game cleaner, I think, here. But yeah, let's get started.
We get the lead. It is the Hisui and Arcanine and the Como-O against the Fluttermane and the Rillaboom. Immediately, Como-O is threatened by that Fluttermane. That is where the Terra Steel comes in handy.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Terra Steel right off the bat here, or a swap out. Maybe was expecting Ogerpon to lead here, but Arcanine in a pretty solid spot, especially because it isn't choice itemed, so you have 2 options you can go for right away. Okay, you can go right away for a Rock Slide. It doesn't actually carry a fire move.
Yeah.
So it does not have anything to
fire move.
It doesn't have anything to threaten Rillaboom, but it could potentially hit Fluttermane for a decent amount of damage with either Rock Slide or Stone Edge.
A knockoff is never a bad option.
Yeah, especially on Rillaboom.
Yeah.
We did see the Booster Energy activate on Fluttermane, so knockoff would not do a ton. Yeah, the Protect on Como-O smart.
Yeah, and that's something else this Como has done a lot, is just sit there and protect. Try to make sure that you are maintaining your turns.
I think getting the Fake Out of the way is really important. There's a Shadow Ball into the Arcanine. I probably expected either the Fake Out, and you also had expected the Fake Out or Protect there. Shadow Ball does a ton of damage thanks to that critical hit.
Tough critical hit to eat, but Arcanine is still standing.
Oh, it does have Flare Blitz. Okay.
It does have Flare Blitz. Okay.
Okay. This team sheet is a bit different, but
that's all right.
Well, yeah, no, I was gonna say you can just Flare Blitz into
now you've got Rillaboom out of the way. Arcanine will fall as well, and is that early 1-for-1 trade?
I think that's pretty fair. Now is a good time to go into Rillaboom. Or, I mean, I would not. I personally wouldn't go into Fluttermane just because you're kind of banking on speed ties. But with Como-O acting as a bit of a target, it does allow your Fluttermane, if you're Sean, to hit the opposing one or focus on Ogerpon, which I think is first time we've seen the fire form on stream today.
It is indeed. And I personally am quite a fan of this fire form.
Me too.
It has a lot of good matchups. Its best matchup, I think, is into Heatran.
Oh,
where it totally negates everything that Heatran likes doing. But, I mean, just in general, I mean, we've seen all the calculations over the past few weeks of Terrafire +1, Ogerpon, Hearthflame, Ivy Cudgel, just blowing up anything in its sights.
This is, I think right now, if you're Sean...
And this is a rough look for Como, because you either have to eat a quad-effective Moonblast or a super-effective Ivy Cudgel, and you don't know which one is going to hit you or if both are going to hit you.
I was saying that Ogrepon's gonna be a late game cleaner. Well, it's not quite late game, but it's definitely a cleaner. That Terra Ivy Cudgel just does so much onto anything except Como-O, and if you don't Terra, then you have the worry about the Moonblast. So, yeah, this Terra Astral here on Fluttermane, I think that's really, really solid too, because it allows you to hopefully at least try and deal with the opposing Fluttermane. But yeah, if this is what I'm expecting, which I believe is that's Terra on Ogerpon, yeah, it is. Then good luck surviving anything.
Yeah, neither of these. Well, we'll see. Como could take an Ivy Cudgel, I think, with resisted and physically bulky.
I don't think that Como-O is going to. I don't know.
I don't think it's gonna get targeted for one, but
Shadow Ball is not going to one hit KO. Actually,
does good damage.
And
gets a spit up drop. That'll KO
help.
the next shot, but I don't think. Oh, okay.
It does hit Como. I think that was a bit of a mistake because it would yes and no. Okay,
it was predicting the Terra Steel, and it was really smart of Sean to go with the Terra Fairy on the Fluttermane in order to prevent Fluttermane damage into there and giving Como a lot of extra health. Como is now totally fine. Como is not taking damage against Ivy Cudgel unless it gets a critical hit.
But you gotta worry about Moonblast.
I mean, the thing is, Ogerpon now drops to
Shadow Ball.
The next Shadow Ball, yeah.
I think.
And so at worst, you're going 1-for-1 with Sean keeping Terra up.
Either way, just having that Fluttermane, it's gonna be dangerous, and especially because we do know that the Rillaboom is Grassy Seed. The Spiky Shield's definitely the right call here, because the interesting thing for me here, and Como-O's going to protect, it's basically a Fluttermane off here, but I think...
Yeah. Ooh, and does get the prediction on the Spiky Shield. It's not going to get the KO, though.
I mean, Fluttermane is just the bigger threat for Richard, on Richard's side right now. As much as Ogerpon is there, Como-O kind of walls it. But really, like I said, I'm surprised we didn't see that Ivy Cudgel earlier go on to the Fluttermane slot. I think that may have been a much better matchup, because at the end of the day, then you Moonblast and you Ivy Cudgel on Rillaboom, and that kind of won you the game. So I think that it was a bit of a mistake on Richard's side to go for the Ivy Cudgel on Como. I still think that Richard's in a good position here. I mean, you've got to switch out Ogerpon right now because it's going to go down to a Shadow Ball, and then you do pick up a Moonblast on the Como slot, whether it goes into Rillaboom or not. But then you also now have to watch out for the Fluttermane. And it looks like, yeah, Surround's Fluttermane is going to be able to pick up the knockout on Richard's Fluttermane, and that gives Como-O a huge boost.
Yeah, and that now means that Como is going to be difficult to touch for the rest of this battle. Ivy Cudgel... Yeah, I think that's gonna get rid of this Fluttermane.
I'm gonna be surprised if it lived. I really.
Yeah.
And Rillaboom is okay. It's not over because there's still the body press. Okay, no, it's over.
That's a lot of body press damage.
Yeah, I think that terrifies.
Yeah, no, that's really. I like Como a lot in this regulation. It's looking pretty good, and that passive healing with Grassy Terrain, I mean, Grassy Terrain plus Leftovers, it's not a ton of healing, but it really adds up over a lot of turns when you're protecting a lot, when you're cycling, when you're not taking a ton of damage. I mean, Como took a bunch of damage against that Ivy Cudgel, about half its HP, and now it's basically full health.
And I think one thing here, we do see Dragonite come out. Okay, if this is inner focus, which it probably is, then the fake out won't matter. It's out.
Dragonite is inner focus.
You click Outrage and you hope for the best. Just hope that it hits the Como-O because it cannot Terra. And then I don't think Rillaboom can do all that much.
The Dragonite does have Ice Spinner. I don't know if that's, I don't know if that's especially better, but there's the Outrage.
You just hope to hit the other one.
That's a lot of damage.
That is
just couldn't finish it off.
Okay, it's not over. If Como-O here does not knock out the Dragonite, then Richard, I think, wins this one. Okay, never mind, because the Woodhammer really damage just wasn't enough.
Critical hit and barely, and Grassy Terrain still up after this turn?
I don't know.
I counting in my head is really hard. Okay, yeah. After a while, I'm like, is it down? And then
Yeah.
usually it ends up being down. But in any case, the Rillaboom should be the fastest thing. Well, regardless, it doesn't matter. One of them is going to finish it off.
Okay, so Como didn't actually knock it out. It wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, no, the is a very, very bulky Como with the +2 defense, and Sean will take game number 1.
I think the big thing there that really decided it was that Ivy Cudgel onto Como instead of Flutter Mane, because if you got rid of that Flutter Mane and called it right, Moonblast on one side, Ivy Cudgel the Rillaboom, and at that point, there's nothing you could do. And I think that really, Richard going for the Ivy Cudgel on the Como slot, predicting the Terra Steel, cost the game there. So I think, again, I wouldn't say Ogerpon is a bad choice at all. It's still the right call. I just think, personally, I feel like it would have maybe been better to go into Dragonite there, or at least have some sort of option to handle what if they do Terra Steel versus what, you know, you have to plan and not have to rely the whole game on a 50-50 call. But I do think the 4 that Richard brought out are the best 4, so.
Yeah, and spoiler alert, Sean believes the same, going with the same leads.
I don't blame either one. I think, like I said, it was a 50-50 call, and if Richard kind of took the lesson there by going for the Ivy Cudgel, I think that Richard could easily pull this game off with the same Pokemon.
Yeah, that was very close at certain points, but slightly different lead this time. It's going to be the Tornadus. It means that you can get the Tailwind up, win the speed tie between the Flutter Manes.
That's important.
Later on. Tornadus will take a decent amount of damage from these Pokemon, but actually isn't really threatened by Como at all, and it's a little bit of offensive threat down, as well as Flutter Mane obviously putting offensive threat down on Como in general.
I think now there's one thing that's really important that we just saw. This Terra to Steel right off the bat. And that may slide things in one way or another. Yeah, this Flutter Mane and this Tornadus cannot touch you at all. But you know who can touch you? Ogerpon. And that may be a deciding factor, because especially if the Tornadus goes... the Flutter Mane protects us fine, but is it going to be Tailwind, or is it going to be Sunny Day? Is the question. Tailwind, okay.
Yeah, and it could probably still do both. I doubt that this Rock Slide is going to...
If it hits, I think it might...
It'll be close.
It isn't a... No, okay.
Yeah.
If it was Choice Band, then I would...
Yeah, if it was a little more damage.
So, yeah, Sunny Day is smart, but...
Sunny Day is still an option here, but it means that Como potentially could get another Iron Defense for free.
That's an interesting choice. I think good call here on side, seeing if that fighter's going to switch out, but the taunt... Yeah,
Tornado full taunt, that's smart.
And
trying to stop additional Iron Defenses. It means that once the Ivy Cudgel eventually can come out...
Oh, doesn't really the Shadow Ball is activated?
Bulletproof, yeah. Oh. It's an easy one to forget, because a lot of the ball moves you don't usually think about as bullet moves.
No.
But in the other direction, Body Press is not going to connect.
It's a trade-off.
It's a trade-off for both players clicking into ineffective moves.
Ogerpon's the right call here, for sure, but here's, I guess... Okay, well, Ogerpon is the right call. You're gonna get rock slided, so I think
you're gonna get rock slided, but I think Ogerpon takes it okay.
I think it'll be fine if you could just survive.
The question is how much damage you end up doing to Como at +2, assuming you don't crit, and then what if you do crit?
If you don't crit with the Terra boost, I think you're fine, because it's only been a +1, and Ogerpon, it's a 100 base power, it's Terrestrial, it's also stab, and at +1, yeah, I think you're fine.
There is the Terra. The embody aspect.
It's going to really come down here to what this rock slides from Arcanine. I think Shadow Ball will be able to pick up... Not... Okay, now it will be able to pick up 2-hit. Yeah. What is it?
Arcanine loves getting crit by Shadow Ball.
Seriously. Now it's in range. Yeah, to take another hit.
And it's the Horn Leech. Okay.
Okay, I like that. I like that.
I mean, like, what is the Como really threatening right now? It's not... horribly unthreatening, but okay,
that's what it's threatening. I had a feeling that was going to happen. I'm like, I think a +2 body press can knock out Ogerpon.
Actually, that's a ton of damage.
I think Sean kind of just may have picked up this match. Depends on What's that last Pokemon on Richard's side? And this Dragonite, unfortunately, does not. Stomping Tantrum, that would have made at least some difference.
Yeah, I don't know what Dragonite can really do. It can haze to drop off the bonus defense for the Como, and it's taunted for however long, but I don't know how much that's going to do, and
yeah.
There's still a Rillaboom in the back.
I think that Sean's kind of won this thing. Fluttermane at best can Moonblast. Dragonite at best can Outrage. There's nothing here that Richard has that is resisted. Every move that Richard has on Como is resisted. This goes to show how Steel is such a good type in this format.
It's ludicrous.
This Shadow Ball will connect and knock out the Fluttermane though.
That's good damage. Let's see what the Dragonite will do and can do here. It is the haze.
I mean, that is the right call.
I think it is the right call as well, but it's not going to matter with this Iron Head.
That's just going to do so much on Fluttermane.
That's with the damage already taken, that's easily going to pick up the knockout. So it'll be, once again, Rillaboom and Como against the Dragonite.
And at this point...
that's without the Tailwind now.
Yeah. I mean, you can Ice Spin or Rillaboom.
You can just click Outrage again.
Yeah.
The Outrage wasn't terrible last time. Well,
no, but it was also...
You can't do damage against Como now, yeah.
I was going to say...
Como could just click Iron Defense as much as it wants, and it's not really going to take much damage. Ice Spinner won't KO the Rillaboom. I figured it wouldn't.
Yeah. I also believe we saw a very interesting call here from, Rillaboom going for the taunt.
And so now the haze can't come through. I think we're just going to get the slow march of Como building up the Iron defenses and knocking out the Dragonite like it's a terror raid.
Pretty much. I think Como here... I was going to go straight for the body press. I think Como...
It gets it. It gets it. The finisher pretty quickly.
Saved the game there. And you know what? I think we might see more Como-Os to come after this because that is...
It's pretty good.
It's basically, like I said, Goodra, but a bit better. That Terra to Steel is so nice because you do have to... I mean, there's a couple Pokemon that do threaten it, but if you can get one Iron Defense off, it's like over.
The big difference is between its base typing and what it can bring with the Terra Steel, where Goodra, I mean, especially Hisuian Goodra already has that Steel type, got the same kinds of things, but this lets you work against the Fairy typing, and Sean Pinto, with the easy 2-0 victory, he'll be moving on to the semi-finals.
Yeah, I think Sean's team is just really, really well balanced.
It is.
Not only do you have Rillaboom, Ogerpon, Wellspring, and Arcanine Hisui combo, which is that Fire, Water, Grass combo, we also have Como-O, which just can stall things, Fluttermane for the highest special attack you can get right now, and Tyranitar, because why not? It also resets weather, so it puts that pressure on Ninetales, which we were saying earlier is, I think, the meta. There's a lot of Ninetales going around, and Tyranitar with that Sandstream just makes sure, you're not Aurora Bailing. So you're going to see Sean later on, possibly in our final two, but first to get there, he's going to have to win his semifinal matchup.
And with that, we will take a quick break on the other side. Semifinals here from the Gym Challenge at Psycho Turtle. Keep it tuned.